Can you hear me?
Oh, well, hello. Welcome back to another Thursday night, paint night. I'm your host, Adam Paul. I got my wife over here. She'll be answering questions. What up, guys? Hey, we're here for an image transfer. Thanks for being here. Like I said, like he said, every Thursday night we're here live. We are going to be doing image transfer, like I said. Another great thing is we do have our buddy Lo at Carport Customs. If you haven't followed Carport Customs yet on YouTube, look him up. I'll put him in the description once we're all good and going. But all you have to do is just Carport Customs in YouTube. So check him out. We'll be checking in with him. He's flaked out a set of rims and he's doing some other candy work and stuff right in the middle, doing some of that. So we'll check in with him and see how his job's going. But like I said, appreciate y'all being here. We are doing some more live giveaways. You'll be able to enter in. You can go ahead and you want to go put that on the screen. You can enter in just by hashtagging Lime. Yeah, let's just go for the first top one. Not show or pin or something like that. We will we'll get that on the screen. There you go. So there you go. LiMELiNE in the comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Just Lime in the comments, and that will get you entered to win and get you in onto the wheel. So we'll be doing that at least 3 or 4 times tonight. We'll see. But hit that like button. Once we get up to 25 likes on this video, we'll give away our first giveaway. But okay, I want to take you up a little bit up to speed of what we're at here. This tank has been metal flaked with the LiMELiNE metal flake. It's been clear coated with 4 coats of clear coat. After that, we sanded it down with 600 grit. We laid out the lines, and we basically just took black candy, edged everything, and then we took red and blue together, mixed it together to make a purple candy. That's what you see inside the flame here. After that, I did give it another 3 coats of clear coat. We sanded it down, and we did the silver leafing on top here. So that's what you're seeing here. Put it back into the booth for another 3 to 4. I think I did 4 coats of clear on this one last night, and I'll be sanding it down again, and then we'll be doing our transfer tonight. One thing that is kind of special about this particular transfer is, I'll kind of show you the packaging real quick because we'll be going over this again, but there is no need to spray apparently over top of the transfer. So usually we would like throw a clear base coat or a 1K clear coat over the top of this to be able to seal up the ink. Apparently this stuff's going to be good. We're going to be able to dip this in water and we're not going to be able to have any problems. So if that's the case and it's really doing what it claims, that's a deal breaker. I think that's going to be probably the best bet. But we'll see how the adhesion is with the glue on the back side of this. And if it doesn't work, I do have plan B. So we'll get this done the old fashioned way if we have to. So, okay.
We have a couple super chats.
Oh,
OP
yes.
Sent you $5 super chat.
All right.
Thank you for your time and your knowledge. And then Cheese Grits and Michael sent you a $20 super chat. It said, thank you, Adam and Ash.
Thank you. Appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
guys.
appreciate those super chats. Remember Lime in the comments, hashtag Lime. You can type it either way, lowercase or whatever. Who do we have here? Zane, Oscar. What's up, guys? It's been a lot of new people I see. Daniel, Mayan. What up, Nate? All right, so I'm gonna get you up to speed real quick. We're gonna clip to another video that will show how I laid out this silver leafing. It's only like a minute 30 or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get started sanding on this thing. We're gonna clip to that video. We'll come back and then we're going to see how Carport Customs is doing here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and play that footage. All right. So that hopefully gets you up to speed of where we're at here. If you do want to go back and see how we did the flames, you could watch the live on that, or I do have like the short edited videos as well. But yeah, so I'm going to keep sanding on this. You can see that I'm taking the gloss all off, and you see right there, boom, making this nice and soft, nice and smooth. Not soft, smooth. All right, let's cut to Carport Customs and see how his job is doing over there. All right.
Small screen.
All right. I think you're on, Lo.
We got you.
What's going on, everybody? We live. All right. So, as always, I work great under crunch. So, 9 days before a big local car show, our last car show of the year, I decided to rip my rims off of my truck because I got tired of looking at them black. I decided to paint them. So, this is what I'm working on. About to lay some candy today. So, Halloween. Happy Halloween. But so what I did was these are a set of Boyd Coddington Steelies that I bought, and they were black. And the size wheels I got to run on my truck, they have to be real small, and you can't get a white wall in them. So what I decided to do was lay some LiMELiNE flake down because they were already black, and then I decided to make myself a white wall. So we painted this white. We're gonna leave this in just a LiMELiNE silver to mimic a beauty ring. Then we're gonna lay some red candy on the face of this thing, kind of hot rod style. So I've never shot with LiMELiNE's candy. I had some old candy that I had bought before LiMELiNE came out with theirs, and that's finally ran out. So I grabbed some candy red from LiMELiNE. That's the candy black. Candy red from LiMELiNE. Mixed it in with some Tamco Intercoat clear. Shot it in here. This is also first time I'm going to use the new gun. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate the gun. So let's do some firsts. Let's spray some candy for the first time, and let's spray with this gun for the first time. Sorry if this compressor comes on. It's really loud. But let's lay this down, see how it comes out. This wheel is really tricky to paint because it's concave going in, and in between this lip and that face is really hard to get, and it's candy. So I don't know if you can see, but right now we've got kind of a reddish magenta color, but if you start looking where it curves in, it's still silver in there. So you got to be real careful with candy because it's not paint, you know, it's a translucent. So it's going to build. So you want to try to get that first coat. You want to try to get it as even as possible. Luckily, I'm on a curve, and if I don't get it perfect, it's going to look more like light refracting. So I know Adam has always taught us when we're painting to not paint wet. When it comes to painting big pieces like this, I don't know how to not paint wet with candy. With my airbrush, I can do better with just, you know, layering it and stuff like that, not putting it on too thick to where it can dry. But when it's out the gun like this, that's the only way I can paint it. And I can see it blending right. Because remember, guys, I only have one eye and I'm colorblind. So a lot of times I don't paint with the color. I paint with the reflection of the light and the wet paint. So, but I'm gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna hit another coat with it. So, and then we'll pull it off, and I'll reveal it to you guys, let you guys see what it looks like. But I actually have one I did already earlier today, but it's in my shed, and I don't want to go get it. It's got to dry. So
Looks right. That looks like you're getting it right. It's a little tricky with the candies. Like you said, I was going to reiterate something that you made a point of. I just spaced it.
About when you said painting wet?
No, it was right before that.
About layering the candies. Right?
Yes, about the contours and the curves.
Mm-hmm,
That's what I was going to read, because you can get away with a lot more when you have curves and contour and shades and shadows. Like when stuff moves around, if you don't get the candy exactly right, you're going to be able to get away with it because the sun is going to cast shadows on stuff. But if it's a flat panel, like on the side of a van or something like that, and you're shooting candy, it's a different. You have to have a different game plan. And you just have to know what you're working with. So I just wanted to say, something, because you're exactly right with that. You kind of nailed it, because you can get away with a lot when it comes to
when curves and stuff like that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
We're gonna go into my shed. We're gonna take a walk in the spooky dark real quick. I want to show y'all this one done, because it's kind of chilly tonight and paint isn't setting up.
Uh-oh. He turned frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh, we're back.
There we go. Warm them up.
Sorry about that, guys.
Wi-Fi range, huh?
Yeah. So look, we'll put it out here.
Okay,
so y'all can see this thing.
Oh yeah. That's looking beautiful.
Yeah. So once we get some clear over that.
Frozen again. The rim's frozen.
My wife's gonna lay in a piece of hand laid pinstriping in there, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yep, that looks great.
Thank y'all, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep. If you're still here, we'll check back in a little bit. If not, have a good night, because we know it's late there.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah. Great dude there. Low down at Carport Customs. You can find him on YouTube as well. He's always trying to help people out, and we're always willing to share what we know. And we don't do it like everybody else does, or there's a lot of ways to do certain things. We just do the way we know. But today we are getting right into it. Anything real quick?
Yeah, there's a couple questions.
Okay, go ahead real quick. Yep.
So Lewis said, Adam, if you're working on top of the tank, do you have to sand down the entire tank or just tape it off?
You're going to have to clear coat it anyway, so it's better just to get it sanded now rather than messing with it later, especially if you have a transfer on it. You could have just sanded this and then went back after the transfer was done and then sand the sides, because it all needs to be clear coated. If you're going, now that's a good question, because if you're going to clear coat something, you want to clear coat it as a whole piece. Like you wouldn't tape something and mask it off and then just clear coat where it's masked up into the paint edge. Because the thing is, with clear coat, it adds layers, thicknesses that you don't want. Base coat and candies are different, although candies do build still more than what a base coat does. It's just not, that's not one of those things. So you always want to just get it all prepped and all cleaned and ready to go before you even go. But good question. All right, next. Any other thing?
I'm curious, after he's all done with the clear top coat, will it crack when the lug nuts get tightened down on that?
Would it crack? No, it would probably break the paint a little bit, but that's That's kind of expected. I don't know. Maybe he has an answer for that, some kind of a bushing or something. But that's probably not a thing, not on the rim. So you're right. It probably will. I don't think it would break it and crack it because it's not that thick, but it would like probably break it just around the edge.
And then someone just said, do you have any advice on how to clean a really freaking dirty gun?
You can try. People say don't soak them, but if it's really dirty, just soak it in lacquer thinner. It might start to, yeah. Take it apart. Soak it. I've soaked them before. If you're trying to save it. Okay, so we are going to be using this koala. Oh, look how cute he is.
Koala.
Koala. Is that how you say koala?
Yep.
Koala.
Koala.
Oh,
Koala.
oh my god.
It could be koala if that's what you want to call
I'll
it.
call it. Well, I thought it was some kind of Chinese something. All right. This thing does come with instructions. Like no need to spray. For inkjet and laser, I used inkjet. And that's how I printed. This is actually printed on something else, but we will trim and everything what I printed on this. 8.5 by 11, so it's going to fit in any printer. We did use the white. I don't know what the math's all about, but we did use the white. There is clear transfer paper too. Different way to do it. You would have to spray white base coat. This is going to be a completely different way. This is no need to spray. So we don't need to spray anything to keep the ink down.
Where did they get this one?
You can get this on Amazon. Yeah, so just look up koala.
Oh, you want to call it koala or
Yeah,
koala?
koala.
Okay. All right.
I ain't good. All right, okay. Let's move on. Step 1. Look, it gives you instructions. Look at this instructions. Step 1. The printable side is more smooth. That was because the first time I printed it on the wrong side. So don't do that. There's a oh, here it is right here actually. I printed, here's a shiny side that's whiter, and then the other side's not as white. So yeah, don't do that. Print on that side. Very important. Cut out the image with scissors, probably something like this. This is like my mock-up, but I'm thinking that's kind of what it's going to be. Okay. The edges left around the image will show white. The edges. Okay. Yeah. That doesn't pertain to anything we need to know. Submerge the decal into the water for a moment, then slightly slide the decal in the water using your thumb and forefinger. Okay. If the decal film and the backing paper can be slid easily and smoothly, then go to step 4. Okay. Here's a tip right here. Looks pretty important. Do not completely separate the decal film from the backing in the water before applying to the surface. So I'm guessing once we soak this, we want to like maybe get one edge out, like get it started maybe, then lay it down and then pull it off. I guess that's what it's saying there. So we'll try to do that. Usually I let it separate all the way, but that's probably better if we can keep it on the backing and then slide it off. Hopefully that we can make that happen. Let's see where we at here. Put some water on the surface to make it easier sliding. Take the decal out of water, then set it on the ideal position of your substrate. Okay. Gently hold one side of the decal in your left thumb and slide the back sheet with your right thumb and forefinger. Okay. Tips. If it's still not easy to slide off the decal film, put more water on the decal and the surface. All right. Okay. I don't think that made sense. Slightly position the decal to the right spot and then use your fingers or a damp paper, card, towel, or mini squeegee. Okay, we won't use a squeegee. I think I'm just going to use a microfiber. That's what I've always used in the past. Kind of dab it. On this one, considering it doesn't have anything protecting the ink, we probably want to get that water off pretty quickly. I'm guessing. I've never done this before, so this could be a complete fail. Just stick with me, guys, because I do have a backup plan. But that could mess up easy too. So we'll see what we can do here. If the substrate is high temperature resistant, you need to bake in an oven. So we're not doing anything with high temperature here. We're not going to bake any of this in an oven. So we should be good. Anything here? Do not spray clear coating over the printed image. That's a little concerning but I think that just means like with the whole no spray, they're just saying not to do that. But I'm pretty sure we can clear coat over this. It's not going to be a problem. Compatible with inkjet and lasers. Like I said before, we used inkjet. Ideal for hard surfaces and smooth substrates. Ceramics, glass, plastic, metal, sanded clear coat. Doesn't say it there, but it's fact. Most failures are caused by improper operation. So we provide a step-by-step video tutorial. Okay. Please contact seller or check our product detail page. All right. So if you go to Amazon, it sounds like it's going to be in their product detail page. They should have a video there. But once again, they're probably doing it on a cup. So that's not even where it's going to be a little different for us. Okay. So we got the instructions out of the way.
Someone said, "What man reads the directions?"
I didn't want to. Oh. Okay. So here is, we did get some lines kind of from the ink. I think you're starting to run out of, I think you're running out of ink, Ash, on your printer.
You use mine, huh? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so you can see here, that's the back side. This was the whiter, brighter, slicker side. And I did this one right. So I want to trim it out something like this. So let me grab.
Red Bear sent you a $10 super chat. Said thanks for all your knowledge you keep putting out. You've got me back into airbrushing.
Awesome. Glad to hear that.
And I think I'm getting different numbers on likes, but I think we're about past a couple of.
Oh, we are?
Here. Yeah.
Okay, let me cut this and then we'll do one. So yeah, if you guys are just joining in, you don't know, you can enter for a chance to win. We're going to do candy packs today. I'm going to make it easy. That's what most people chose anyways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do a tri-pack. So you'll get all the candy colors, which is going to be the blue, the primary colors. Blue, the yellow, and the red. So all you got to do is just type in #Lime into the comments. Hey, will you take that off actually? Because then when I take the recording, it shows it.
It looks like we're at 81.
Hold on, I gotta mock something up real quick. 81. Okay, let's give something away here. Hold on, let me go ahead and finish cutting this. Sorry, I have to make sure I get video of this. Oh, whoa, I'm getting close here. Hold on. Usually I don't cut it that close to the image, but usually I would leave a little bit more like this, but it's okay. All right, let's give something away. Sorry, guys. So once again, Lime in the comments will get you entered into the wheel, and you have a chance to win.
How come it says 0 entries?
Maybe you might have to refresh it. Type it in there. Okay. Is that gonna do it? 160 Dutchman 3. Congratulations. You are our first winner. We should pop off another one right now.
Well, have them do that again.
Yeah, go ahead and type in hashtag Lime. Looks like everybody was in there. So yeah, any way you do it, capitalize, lowercase. We'll pick another one too as well, because I think we're at that point. Kind of went a little long. And then I will get this set up. We got some water here.
You want me to do it now or wait?
Yeah, let's go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm gonna get it set up some more.
Matt Giddings.
Matt Giddings, congratulations. You are the second winner of the candy pack. So what you want to do is just email info@LiMELiNEPaintSupply.com. She'll put it there into the comments. You'll be able to check it out. Make sure you get it right.
See my name sometimes.
Yeah, if there's more than like 30 entries, not everybody flashes through. So I think there was how many on that one? Like 50 or something.
60.
There was 60 something on there. So it doesn't flash through everybody's if there's that many people. I think it stops like around 20. Okay, so I'm still trimming this up a little bit. I noticed that the image was going to fall a little into the leafing right there. So this one's same thing. I want to cut this at about this angle. There we go. Okay, so I think it's pretty tight right there. I'm gonna get rid of this.
Cut the bottom off of the transfer, someone said.
Yeah. I'm also gonna round that edge too, so it's not a point. Same thing here. I don't know if that's a good thing or not to have a point. I'd rather just not have a point, I guess. But okay, I think we're clear in there, right? Let's see.
Warm or cold water?
This is just whatever room temperature is. It didn't say on the instructions, so I'd probably stay away from warm, because I feel like warm water might help melt because that's the thing, is we don't have anything protecting the ink on this. If this was regular transfer paper, I'd dip it in there and it's just going to melt away. Like instantly, it's going to melt away. So we're going to be careful with this and dip it in there like the instruction says and get it to loosen up and apply it. Hopefully it works out good. If not, I got a plan B where I do have another one of these that is coated with clear base coat. So we would be able to still do it. But like I said, I've never tested this before. I don't know the adhesion properties of the because once the backing comes off, there is an adhesive on the back of this. It's obviously different than the stuff I've been using before. So I don't know if it's good or bad or what it is. We're going to find out tonight. So hopefully this stuff's
just tap
what we
water,
need.
right?
Yeah, just tap water. Yep.
Spring water, salt water.
Nah, I probably wouldn't do it. Salt water, coffee water, toilet water.
Does the water slide print easy through the printer?
It does. I didn't have a problem at all. You kind of have to shove the paper in there, though, I noticed. Okay. We got it here. Do you think I should like maybe zoom out just a little bit?
Yeah. Yep.
Like something like that, maybe. That's a little better to see. There we go. All right, let's apply this transfer. Let's see how this goes.
How hard would it be to curve? Someone says like a helmet.
It would start to like, you would have to put relief cuts in it, I'm guessing. It would be hard, unless it's small. It would be harder, you know. So if it was something like this big, I think you're all right. All kind of depends on like this. If it was more on a curve, I'd probably even cut this even closer right here to get rid of more of that. And then you can cut little relief cuts. That would probably help. But the less you can do of that, probably the better off, though. Like you kind of want to keep it as one piece. But okay, this is the first time we're going to be dipping this stuff into water. So I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. But let's see how this turns out, huh? Am I good here? Well, hold on. I'm kind of jumping the gun here. Let me just clean off the top of this tank one more time. Because if you have any kind of dust or anything on the top of this tank, that transfer has to suck down to that clear coat and it has to be smooth. If you have any kind of dust, you don't have a chance at all for that sticking. There's not very much adhesive on those. You could even, I think it'd probably be a good idea to even wet this beforehand. But I'm not going to, because I'm hoping I'm going to get it on there straight. Because if you're worried about placement, get it wet, because you'll have more time to maneuver it around. However, there's going to be more water underneath your transfer that you need to get rid of. So you're going to be constantly wiping the top of the transfer, which is going to start to take a toll on the transfer itself. So you do it with a soft towel. But I have a feeling we're going to start moving some of those inks around eventually. So the less you can mess with it, so the less water underneath, I think, is the better idea. But maybe not. It's clean. That's good. Right transfer here. Okay, here it is. All right. Let's see what it does.
What are you spraying on the tank to clean it?
That's just glass cleaner. And it said like not to like totally submerge it, but I don't know how you would not like totally submerge it. It didn't move the ink, which is surprising because usually that would be gone right now. Completely gone. But is it going to hold up to me rubbing on it? Let's see. So far, so good. The warmer the water, the faster this process is. But once again, I don't want to disturb that ink with really hot water. So I'd rather just use what I have room temperature here.
John Sabia sent you a $10 super chat.
Yeah, woohoo!
Painting bagger Saturday, all new tins and plastics came in vivid black. I sanded with 600 grit. Should I use adhesion promoter? Would it hurt to use it? Thanks for sharing your knowledge.
On top of the black? On top of the...
Yes.
No, only use adhesion promoter like on like plastics and stuff like that. I wouldn't put adhesion promoter on anything that it's already sanded and prepped and painted. You're going to have plenty of good adhesion in there. You don't want to add anything extra that just doesn't need to be there, especially if it's one part, like adhesion promoter, which is usually just out of a can. Yeah, so remember that adhesion promoter goes on light coats, not even full coverage. All right, so far so good on this. I feel the backing starting to get loose. Let's see here. Take my thumb and index finger. Isn't that what I said?
You lost me at cola.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's coming up. It's coming up. Now, how do I want to... Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what method. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and see if I can make this happen. The nice thing I have noticed so far is the backing on this is way thicker. Okay. You don't want to disturb. Oh, come on. Like I said, this is still on the back. There we go.
Ryan said, woohoo, I never thought I'd see you do a portrait of me on a bike.
Okay.
Slide
So,
the paper out, put it on the tank and slide
yeah. Hold on. That's my plan.
You're not sliding it.
No, I'm not. I'm putting it back in the water.
You're so
Hold
anxious
on.
doing this, I can tell.
You just chill out. Just chill out, everybody. I'm not doing it like they said.
No,
I don't like it that way.
you're not doing it. Slide it off, man. Someone said.
Ha! This is the way I like to do it. Okay. There we go. All right, we got a couple of fingerprints on there, I notice. All right, we do need to get that. We got a little razor blade, or maybe an X-Acto blade. Here we go. I want to get, see, this is folded under. I don't want to do that either. Let's go ahead and side of that blade. Okay, we got it. Let's do this one too. Got a little tear. It's okay. All right, once again, this is not coated with anything. It doesn't have anything over the ink, and so far it hasn't washed away. All right, so I'm going to, let's get the top of this unfolded. Oh, she's ripping.
You said now add water.
I don't think I need to add water because it's actually still moving. I haven't really dried it off too much. And that's right where I want it, right there.
They said the anxiety was felt.
Thank you. So far, I don't feel like it hasn't dried much yet. But so far, I feel like it has less tack than what I'm used to, but still early to tell.
Are you ready to answer a few questions?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to, right here, I'm just going to take this and trim this little piece off because I noticed that, oh, the ink did come off a little bit right there. I noticed I didn't really need that right there, and it was folded over. I couldn't fix it, so you can always just trim it as well. Okay. Usually I would give this thing a really good rub down, but with the ink, you can see right there the ink's already coming up just a little bit. Let me get the water off of that. All right, go ahead with any kind of questions. I can maybe handle those.
When doing fish scales cut from Oracle film on a large area, the vinyl gets saturated and starts to curl and break down. Should I just cut a new stencil, or do you have any other tips?
Cut a new stencil. Yep. And if you move at a slower rate and put down less paint at one time, they'll get saturated less. They'll last longer if you're more patient with it. Yeah, so it looks like I smudged it a couple of times right there, but
Can someone buy a membership for a whole year instead of monthly?
on the Amazon, on the YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. I don't think you get that option. No, sorry. It's all kind of ran through YouTube, but you do get those discounts, like 15% off if you're on the Ultimate plan. You get that 15% off the LiMELiNE, which is, it's a big deal because if you're like, even one purchase can add up to quite a bit, you know. One purchase you can pretty much pay for the whole year.
Brown said, my son put a Time Warp custom paint sticker in San Jose, California pizza spot where people put up their stickers, and it's still there.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah, we found some at the local pizza shop over here too.
Mike Manning sent you a $20 super chat and said, extra stress fee.
Oh, thank you. Man, I'm going to DoorDash me some food with that later because I'm hungry too.
Isn't the ink water-based?
Yeah, it is, which is surprising that nothing has happened. Like, it has a little bit right there and a little bit right there. It's probably hard to see in the camera, but you can see I got a couple little, like, where it shifted. But man, I'm amazed that nothing really, I didn't have to coat that with nothing.
Could you use a soft paintbrush to smooth out the transfer?
Yeah, probably could. Yeah, that would. I think the folding under was the biggest pain in the butt that I dealt with during that.
I think that's what everybody said at first. Is how do you get it from curling?
Well, I think it's because is leaving the backing on to you. But if it was smaller, I would say yes, leave the backing on. The length of this thing is like, I couldn't, maybe pulling it out this way. I think that would have been pulling it out this way rather than trying to, like, I don't know what I was going to do there.
Let's see.
All right, let's see if we can get these edges down because they're just kind of a little bit wrinkled there, but oh, there we go.
I hear of people having issues with paint bubbling by the gas fill hole. What's the trick to preventing this?
Well, tape it up good, and usually with most tanks that have a seal, you'll be okay. But there are those tanks that, like, say it's like a flush mount right here, and it doesn't have the lip, like a little bit of a lip. Those ones are the trouble. If you get a tank like that and you're painting for somebody, you just let them know the paint's eventually gonna come up right there, because it's a poor design, and it's just one of those things. Usually I don't have very many problems. The only time I do have problems are on those particular fuel bungs that are not designed correctly.
Swampy said I have a crap loads of Time Warp stickers.
Oh yeah, we give them out, huh? Yeah, you get them with just about anything now.
Nate said, I'm sold on the Waterslide. And then David said, what kind of transfer paper are you used to using?
I think it was called, I'm afraid to say the name because I'll probably mess it up. I think it was called Heinz or something. It's on my affiliate link. You'll be able to find there's 2 different brands that both work good. So far though, this actually has stayed stuck. Like, I think, like, I'm afraid to move it because once you kind of jiggle it, it might not stick again. And like, if you accidentally like peel a edge up, you're gonna probably have problems with that edge. It's like once it's down, it needs to stay down. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with a.
Someone said JB weld which we've heard that.
Yes, you can put some JB weld on the edge of the lip on that. Yes, I've never done that. I've never had a problem, but I don't know I've had any problems, I guess, because we're probably 2 years later, like, what the hell? And I don't know about it, who knows? Okay.
How many likes are we at, guys? I think we probably for sure should do one more.
Let's do another one. But hold on, we'll get some footage of, I have this thing. You can use, I won't point that at you, sorry.
Yeah, watch, buddy.
Hey, Kevin just came in with the super chat. Thanks, Kevin.
So did E. Brown.
E. Brown? Ah, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Milwaukee, you don't need one of these. Just use your wife's hair dryer.
Nope.
Oh,
go ahead.
As
Just
long,
make sure you put it back.
Put it back. And I'm gonna put this, since this thing's gnarly. So you don't want to hair dry your hair with this thing.
No, don't replace it with that.
Yeah, don't replace it with this thing. She'd be mad. We're gonna go full air fan speed there, and then we'll go like mid range, maybe like 300. And we're gonna make sure that what we're doing is we're gonna evaporate the rest of that water that's underneath there, and it's also gonna heat up that adhesive to allow it to hopefully stick really good.
Sorry, I lost where the question went. Have you ever used any color of metal flake besides silver? If so, do you have a video of it?
Usually I just use silver, and then we use candies over the top. The reason for that is if you use a colored flake and it creates a build, which it usually does, and you sand it after it's clear coated, you have to sand it smooth. You will cut through some of those little flakes and then turning them silver, which it just makes it then you got a bunch of silver specks all over your red flake, for instance, or your blue flake has now silver specks in it because you've sanded through some of those sanded through the surface of those flakes and exposing the silver that's underneath. They're not that color all the way through. They're dyed that color or painted that color or however that process is. I have no clue. This is looking good though, man. I can tell that, like, I don't want to mess with it a lot. Like, I'm not really testing this because I want this to work, but maybe on this other one I'll test it another time and see exactly how good it really sticks. But I can already tell that this one's really holding on.
All right, Frankster sent you a $20 super chat.
Ah, woo! Thank you, Frankster. Did you say Frankster?
All right, Frankster.
Ah.
And Isaac Baruch sent you a $10 super chat.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's give something away, huh? We're good. You're gonna watch me do this all night.
Like a lot of people have done the lime, hashtag lime.
Yep.
So.
Hashtag lime. Get you in on the wheel. Okay.
2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Shady Vito.
Shady Vito. You won it. All you got to do is just email info@LiMELiNE at, what is it? info@LiMELinePaintSupply.com. And let us know your info and we'll get that out to you.
Okay, let me read one more question, then I'll do another spin.
Okay.
Steve said, okay, because I'm anal retentive and have to work on printers almost every day and have been called out because coworkers many times, a laser jet, is it a laser jet printer? Toner, not ink, right?
This is ink. This is ink.
Jet.
This is an inkjet printer. It's regular ink. So if this was printed on anything other than that paper that I printed on, it would have just dissolved right off the paper, and that would be normal for that to happen. So I was like, what? Like, how does that really work? I'm guessing it's going to work. They say it's going to work, and it did, but it does smudge a little bit. So I feel like after even doing this one, I'm okay with the smudges because it's an alien face. But if this is like your grandma, you wouldn't want smudges all over her face. So you're going to, you want to make sure that you probably get most of the water off of the surface and keep drying, because what's happening is I probably have a little bit of water on my finger or it gets a little wet right there. And what I'm doing is I'm just like pushing that water into that ink. But once it's dry, at least on the surface, I feel like that would be the best time to, kind of like get the bubbles out or anything like that.
How thick is the edge of that?
It's thicker than leaf, way thicker than leaf, but still pretty thin. Like if you were to put clear coat over this, there's still going to be a pretty drastic edge. And at that point you would sand it down and then you would add more layers. So no matter what, you would have to go through 2 more rounds of clear coat in order to build and to get rid of that edge. And that's what we'll do. We're not gonna do it tonight, obviously, but I'll follow the steps in the process of that. Yeah, let's give something away. Somebody just won? Josh Hanna. I think he's won once before. That's awesome. Or maybe not. I just see his name.
I think he has one. Mr. C said Grandma's Urn video was awesome. All right, Prankster said, I think I like the spray over version. It will be safer.
I think I'm with you on that. But, however, if I was to spray on it, I think I would spray on this one. I like the backing better. It did. So I think if maybe something did get penetrated through whatever you sprayed on there, it would still hold up. So that's a plus. So far, the adhesion of this has been good.
Swampy says, I wonder how the decal will react to the solvents in the clear, though. That's the question.
That is the question. And, we're not out of the woods yet. We're just getting in it. But we got part of it done tonight. We got part of it done. It all seems smooth on the edges. I'll come back tomorrow and maybe half of it's peeled up. Who knows? But no, it feels like it's really on there. I might just go ahead and heat this up one more time, just real quick, just to get those adhesives warmed up. Because if you're putting this on metal, it's usually pretty cold. Yeah, that's filling. We've definitely got rid of all the water underneath. But who knows? Okay. Oh, yeah. man, I'm really happy with that so far. To be honest, that looked like it was a little stressful at first, like something was going to go wrong.
Yeah, I felt your stress.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how it happens every time. Like I remember, like I'm usually pretty stressed out every time I lay one down, but it's only because, you know, it's like stuff's folding over, and I mean, to be honest, it would be nice just to get a pack of 20, not even worry about printing on them or anything. Just get a pack of 20 and then just cut them in different shapes and lay them down. And I bet after you did a whole pack of 20, you'd be like a pro. Like, I don't even think I've laid down 20 transfers in my life. Maybe like 15. I usually haven't done very many, but yeah, if you've done that, man, you'd be a pro. And I'm not a pro, but we made it happen, right?
Right.
It worked so far, like we said.
Part Degree said, I have used this same stuff from Amazon. I like it better with a clear.
With a clear over it, yeah. And that's what I did here. Yeah, that's what I did here with a clear over the top. The nice thing about layering the clear base coat over the top of this is it adds a little bit of a thickness. So if you do like have to rub it a lot, you're rubbing on top of clear base coat rather than on top of, you know, the actual ink. I'm guessing this works because the ink maybe absorbs into the paper, and then the paper maybe has some kind of property that keeps the ink dry. I don't know. This stuff's like magic to me. I have no idea how it works. But yeah. So if this doesn't work tomorrow, I come in, something doesn't work, I'm gonna go ahead and trim this one out, and I'm gonna use this one. And but I'll let you guys know. But I'm thinking that we're gonna be fine with this. Tomorrow I'm gonna be able to throw some clear on this. I wouldn't do it now. You probably could do it now. If something was to happen, you come in tomorrow and something was to peel up, it'd be better to know that you have problems before you clear it rather than having problems after you clear it. Because if you clear coat it and it bubbles up, that clear's not going to hold it down. You're going to end up having little bubbles everywhere. So if you can wait a little bit and to see if anything develops before you get too far, because right now I can literally just peel this up, cut a new one, try to be cleaner with it. You know, the more you mess with it, the more you move it around, the more that adhesive rolls around. The longer you keep it in the water, the more that adhesive kind of, you know, loosens up, and it's not quite as tacky as it should be. You know, the more you push the water out, the more of that adhesive is coming out with that water. So the less you mess with it is the better. And I really didn't mess with this a whole lot. So I know it's like in this center section, that adhesive's in there pretty solid because I wasn't doing much of a squeegee pattern, and I didn't lay any water on top of the tank before I laid that down, which I thought was a good idea, and I still believe that is a good idea. The less water you have trapped under there, the less you have to mess with it. But and I was able to actually move that around quite a bit. I put it right where I needed to be without having had any more water. So less water, I feel, and always have an extra print, I guess. Because you can know if it messes up the first time, you can try again. But you can see where right there where the smudges are there. And in the body here, I had some smudging. So the ink did kind of move around. So yeah, like people mentioned before, if I was to do this again, I would coat it with and still coat it with something. That's a good idea.
What gun would you recommend to spray the crushed glass?
I would recommend like a cheap gun. Like a 1.7 or bigger is what you're going to need as far as tip size. So if you're on Amazon, you're looking for something, probably not the cheapest gun. You can probably find like, I think I bought like a $45 gun that did that. It was super like cheap, and it felt, I don't know, felt kind of ghetto, but it definitely sprayed it out good. But it doesn't matter because you're not wanting it. You're not needing it to spray out smooth. You're just looking to get it on, you know, get it applied.
Is membership automatic monthly, or do I have to redo it each month?
It's automatic.
Can you do a video on fading candies? And are you going to fade the edges with black with this?
Yes. Not tonight. Good question though. I didn't really touch on that. I'm going to want to clear coat this before I go spraying any paint on this. Because you could, and it may be tempting, you can, okay, I'll tape out this area, mask all that off now, and I'll go ahead and start blending in my areas with black so I can get some of it done now. And then when I, clear over it, you won't really be able to see that edge. The problem with that is you're going to be blowing air up and into those edges that there's a good chance you're going to be loosening up that adhesive. So my honest opinion is it's just better to once you come in the next day, everything still looks good, put it in the booth, get it cleared, and then we'd go tape this off. I would tape this area off, and I don't think I would necessarily tape on top of my silver leaf either. I would actually mask that off. So thin fine line there, mask it off. That way you're not taping over, because this hasn't been cleared for that long. I cleared this yesterday. If you're going to tape on top of your leafing, I would wait for minimum at least a week and a half, 2 weeks even, because you're risking delamination there. So be careful with that, because that's clear coat on top of aluminum is what that is. But yeah, tape that off, go in with the black, fade it in this way. Nice thing, it's already clear coated. So if something happened and you like maybe put too much shadowing there and you kind of lost that edge, you could go back up and sand that, clean that up, fade that out. But what I'm probably going to do with this is black, get rid of all the metal flake, and then I'm going to come back with like an airbrushed background of like stars and maybe a planet right there or something. I don't know, nothing too crazy, but I do want kind of a background that's has a little bit of color and some texture and stuff to it that's not flaked. Well, the flake here, and then I will end up tinting him blue, so he'll go blue around the edges. And when I took this photo, I didn't actually take the photo of the alien. I don't even know this guy. I just pulled him off the internet. So I lightened him up quite a bit. So I took him, lightened him up. That way he wasn't as dark as like what you would see here. So when we do layer candy on top of this, you can see how much lighter this is than this. Because when we shade the candy blue on top of this, we're going to want enough contrast so we're not losing a bunch of detail. Because like if we were to put candy blue up into here and lose that highlight, this thing's going to be super muted. Like you're not going to be able, all your highlights are going to be gone. So I'm going to come in there, kind of tint it all blue, kind of match it in with the vibe of the background. I don't know. I'm just trying to guess what I'm doing. So I'll kind of build off of what I have.
Can you do a video on fading candies?
Yes. And I'll be fading candies in this right here. I'll be taking a candy paint and fading off the edge. But yeah, I can, that's probably a good video to do. A short one of those.
What size tip airbrush do you use to spray the candy paint?
I use a 1.4, but a 1.3, 1.7, 1.5 will also work. Any of those. You can spray the candy with a paint gun, really. But remember, you spraying with the bigger guns, you're going to add more build to. Yes, if you have something, so you have this top part taped off, and you have this all taped off, and you want to hit this with candy. If you fade it in with an airbrush, you're going to be using very little paint, and it's all going to fade in really nice. But if you use a paint gun, you're going to be putting on a lot of thick paint, so it's going to build up the edges. You're going to have more risk of like seepage underneath your tank, and you're going to have a bigger paint edge to mess with when everything's all said and done. It's going to take more time. So yeah, remember, I personally like to use an airbrush because we're dealing with little paint and we're able to blend those much better.
Scott Crouch gave you a $20 super chat.
Oh, wow. Just bought me dessert.
Leon said, are you going to cut around the edges?
No, don't plan on it.
Darren said, I've done a couple image transfers on some practice projects. Border of image is always visible. Recommendations how to conceal transfer edge.
This edge? Black paint. I'm going to take black paint, and I'm going to, once it's all clear coated, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fade all this out into that.
You might answer this before, but these are questions that I'm just reading, that I haven't caught up to read.
Okay. Yep.
George says, no one's ever a pro. We're always learning. Brett says, it's not a decal, right? Just paper.
It's a Waterslide Decal. It does have paper backing.
Swampy said, are you going live tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yep.
Nope. I don't think so.
John asked, with leafing, do you just sand it off if you mess it up?
You know, I would use a glass cleaner. I'd use glass cleaner and probably glass cleaner and probably a 600 sanding sponge, as long as it's clear coated beforehand, which hopefully it is.
Someone said, "What are you eating?" Swampy said, "I think it would look cooler with the image cut away from the black background. The flake would have a star effect."
Yeah, it would. And then I wonder if I could like take an X-Acto blade once it's all said and done, peel that off. It would look cool. Or would I lose a little bit of contrast between that and the flake? I don't know. No, that would look cool. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll change my mind and you might see that happen.
The image has 2K clear on it? Question mark.
This image doesn't have anything on it. Nope. This image just has the printed ink that's on the paper, the Waterslide Decal paper, which miraculously did not, what's the word I'm looking for? Dissipate in the water. Dissipate? What's the word?
Cola?
No, not dissipate. Evaporate? No. Somebody will tell me. Anyways, it didn't absorb into the water because it has some kind of a properties that, once again, I'll show that real quick. So this stuff did work. I'm sold on this stuff. So, but yeah, like we mentioned before, I probably would still coat it with a clear base coat. But yeah, no need to spray on top of this stuff, which is true, but it did mess it up a little bit. I think this cost me like $7 and it gave me 5 sheets. Or for like $17 you can get 20 sheets or something. But yeah, usually they don't come with instructions quite this decent.
Mr. C said a distant spaceship would look cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Josh said, "What about a bright green or gold candy around the alien?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might do, I'm probably going to end up doing blue, but I like that idea because I could do a gold in the center and then it would blend into a green. And then that would answer a question of blending, I think, because then we'd be blending more colors. I like that. I think maybe we will do that. I'll do a little bit of blue. So I'll do blue up under here, fade that in a little bit. And then, you know, the nice thing about the gold is it doesn't really take much contrast away. I mean, obviously, if we're going to turn the lights gold, because we're using transparent colors. So whatever's light on this is going to stay light. So it'll be light gold, you know, light blue. If it's black, you're not going to be able to tell there's anything on it at all since it's transparent candy paint. So it's a cool thing. When you're working with transparent candy paints, it's like you can do a lot, really. There's a lot of different ways we can still go with this. I could trim it out, and who knows what could be done back here. A lot of cool stuff.
Scott said, "Thanks for the tip today. Hope I can get that clear on slower."
Oh,
that was that blue bite.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Especially coming into the winter months for most people that have to deal with wintertime. Your shop or your garage or wherever you're painting is probably going to get a little colder than usual anyways. So that's just going to increase those wait times in between clear coat. And in my opinion, like when it's really cold, like if it's 60 degrees, 62, 63, you're going to have a tough time not running it. But if you have to do it, you can just do light coats. Like I think a lot of people teach how to paint and clear coat when they're painting a car. Because when you're painting a whole car, you have to start somewhere, and you have to start on one fender and you have to get all the way around the car with that coat fast enough to where when you meet that edge again, that it has to be wet enough that it's going to blend in. So it's a constant rush with that. It's like full trigger on, you know, fade out, fade in, you know, just like this, full trigger on, which that's the right way when it comes to cars. But when you're painting stuff like this, you could clear coat this whole thing and never go full trigger with the gun. So keep that in mind. You could always just, you know, mist on your clear coat, get a nice tack coat that's on there, because if you're layering on top of candies and stuff, those candies are going to want to absorb up into the candy. I'm sorry, the clear coat. The candy's going to want to absorb up into that clear coat. But if you're spraying it dry, like you're just putting some dust coats on it, it's going to lay flat and it's going to dry quick. So that surface, that's the clear coat surface, is not wet enough to disturb and re-wet the candy paint that's underneath it. So remember, that's not candy paint, whether you put it with binder or clear base coat or whatever. It's not chemically hardened. So it can move around, it can absorb, it can do all kinds of stuff. So allowing yourself a couple of tack coats to dry up before you start with heavier coats, it's going to give that barrier of and some distance between your candy paint, which is still very vulnerable to solvents, and the clear coat that you're putting on top, which is a solvent. So when those two mesh together, you need a little bit of a buffer there. So that's so important, and that buffer needs to be bigger when it comes to colder temperatures. So yeah, hopefully that helps, because a lot of people get that wrong, and I see pictures all the time of candy sagging through and doing that. So I did see those pictures, and it happens to me mostly in the winter time. It happens to me too sometimes. It won't happen to me much anymore because I pay attention to it, and I just, once again, sometimes I forget, but I tell all you guys all the time, so now I remember. So, I guess.
160 Dutchman said, how about some of the bright green pigment on there?
Yeah, bright green candy. So you can mix that up with the gold. It actually would make so if we use the pigmented color, we wouldn't put that. It's not transparent like the powders. But that could be done in the background. We could even do neons in the background. Not neons, glow in the dark. I don't know, that gets a little cheesy. Who knows?
Randy said, you did a water slide on clear backing. How does this water slide paper compare?
I like this paper so far better. I would just still put clear base coat on top of it beforehand.
I'm pretty sure you answered this already because it's a question that's been on here for a minute. But fading the edge eliminates the edge of the decal.
Fading once this is clear coated, and once it's clear coated, you would sand it smooth when it's dry, and you're going to get some of that edge out, and then you're able to go in there, and then basically you're turning all this black. If that's the route you're going, you would you'd fade all that into that area, turn it all black. So you're going to airbrush into that area. If you're not willing to get real close, probably leave that bigger if you can. But remember, the more decal you have, the more you got to smooth out. I would rather, cut it closer.
Can I do a vinyl sticker and clear over it? A vinyl sticker.
That's going to be really thick, and I feel like that would probably have more problems than anything. Yeah.
A while ago, you couldn't remember the word, so here's some of them: lift, dissolve.
That's it.
Disintegrate, dissolve.
There you go. Disintegrate. It was dissolve.
Deteriorate, bleed, dilute. What the hell?
Thanks for helping me out with that, guys.
I'm not even read that comment. Willow's Mutt, do you have a website you sell painted tanks?
No, I don't.
Carol's Custom Color said, I really appreciate your videos. They have helped me out so much. I've been doing projects for fundraisers. The latest one was a pair of drink tumblers that raised almost $500 for the pair. Love it.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Mr. C said, I think the alien should have a little stogie in its mouth.
Okay.
If the alien was yellow and you sprayed blue candy over it, would it turn green?
Yes. Yellow candy? Blue candy? Yeah, it makes green candy. Yep. Yeah, so either way, if you put blue candy over gold, it would mostly be blue. It would be slightly green. If you put gold candy over green, then and that's how you should layer it. It was gold candy over green. Then it would, gold candy over blue. It would turn it green. So it'd be the opposite.
Shady Vito said, I'm out your way for axe throwing tournaments every year. I can't get the wife to move out there, though.
Ah. Well, where are you from? Maybe you don't want to.
Is the candy one-to-one mix and then reduced to spray through the airbrush?
The candy is mixed. I can go over that real quick. The candy is mixed at a, so this is a concentrate. It's kind of like Kool-Aid. You want to mix it with water. This is going to be mixed with clear base coat. So 70% clear base coat, 30% candy concentrate, whatever candy it is. So if you're wanting candy red, you'd go 30-70. You want candy yellow, 30-70. If you want candy orange, you would go 10 red, 20% yellow, 70% clear base coat. And then you would, at that time, once that's mixed up, you would reduce it with urethane reducer to make it sprayable. See that right here. Thin paint mixture with UR01, any urethane reducer is going to work. So that will thin it out so it makes it sprayable. Now, none of this is a hard rule. Like you can take this 70 and make it a 50, and you could put more candy in it. You can make that 40. You know, I wouldn't go anything. I would at least keep that at a 30%, and you could over concentrate your clear base coat, and that is fine. But there is a limit to that because you do need that binder to create the adhesion. This stuff, it doesn't have as easy of a time just by itself, although it still will. But
and it's not a powder, it's a liquid.
This is a liquid. Yep. You know, and all candies are going to be a liquid. So if you're buying a powder, like the powder form, somebody did mention like the powders, you wouldn't apply a powdered paint over the top of this, and it wouldn't act like a transparent candy. And this would be more like if you wanted to make all, say you were going to blend, say this was a blue, or say it was this color, you could come back and paint it all this color, you know, and blend that in, you know. So this is a yellow background, you could take yellow paint and blend it into the background that way. This is a black background, and I made it black on purpose. That way I can go with black paint, cover up my edge right there, and then create a background. So we'll see if I still do that. I might change my mind. Who knows?
The transparency is like a Jolly Rancher compared to taffy. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Taffy being the pigment.
Taffy being the pigment. So you can't see through a taffy.
Yeah. So candy will disperse into clear coat if it's too wet. So light coats in colder weather make wait time in between clear coats longer.
It does. Yep. It makes everything longer. Also, reducers, you could use a faster reducer, but although what you're going to get with the LiMELiNE is going to be a standard reducer, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Really, those wait times and the applications. And remember, with clear coat, you don't need to make it wet and perfect on the first or second coat. So that's what usually people try to do. That's what they make the mistake. They're spraying clear coat and they want it to look good the first round. Well, really, the first round, it should look even worse. It should be all kind of like, you know, lightly hit, you know, and then let that build up. And then when you're all said and done and everything's covered, you have as much material as you need on there in order to, you know, sand it out or to buff it or whatever your next layers are going to be. Then you're going to be good, you know. So yeah, that's so I don't want to go on with that.
Kevin McCann said LiMELiNE candy spray is pretty nice, easy to use. And John said, yeah, it does, Kevin. The guide on the back for making the different colors is awesome.
Right. You know, and that's the cool thing about it, because if you buy orange, it's probably going to take you a long time to get rid of that orange, you know, the orange candy. But having just the primary colors, you can mix up any of those like as you want. Cheaper, easier to get into. That's how I've always done it when I was a painter. Never really bought those secondary colors. Always kind of made them.
Willow's Mutt said, I can draw in graphite, but can't paint a lick, though.
Well, you can draw a stencil, cut a stencil, and then you're halfway there already.
All right. Mr. C said, is your base coat thinner also the activator?
Well, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Is your base coat thinner also the activator?
No, base coats don't usually have an activator. They're not a two-part. So you're going to have just the base coat and then the thinner, which is the urethane reducer, which is going to make it thinner so you can spray it.
Oh, he said, I meant reducer.
Yeah.
Is your reducer also the activator? I think it's...
No activator. There's no activator in base coats. Well,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the reason base coats also are prone to the same kind of things as like candy is, but candy's way worse. Like candy will just like move around everywhere. Base coats can do that too, but not to the effect that candies can do. So it's just one of those things.
Isaac said, LOL, I'm guilty of that. I see the clear look grainy and it bugs me.
It does. It's hard to walk out of the booth knowing that's like, it's a process. And even it gets the best of us sometimes. Like I'll do it and I'm like, why don't I just, I'll mix up too much clear and I think I need to get rid of it all. And it'll like, even if I don't run it, sometimes it builds up the edges, which bugs me too, because when it's all done, like a customer can't really tell, but there'll be on the edge, there'll be just like it's a little bit thicker.
When is the LiMELiNE filter mask coming?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have those. No.
How do you make candy burgundy?
You really can't. I mean, you can kind of. Depends on what kind of burgundy you're wanting. You can just take the red and just add a few drops of the blue into it to pull it more towards like a purple red. But if you put a lot in, it's going to be purple. If you put more blue in, it's going to turn it purple. So it's one of those things. Like a Brandywine it would be a kind of a separate shade, kind of a little bit off. But you can get something close to it, like I said.
Mr. C said, but we sprayed Metal Flake in a 2K clear coat, not clear base coat.
Yes, we do. Well, you can do it both ways. You can use clear base coat and put your Metal Flake into that. However, like we've discussed before, that it creates a lot of texture on the part because you're spraying down base coat that dries fast. So like literally once you're spraying that flake down, half of that base coat's actually like drying before it even hits. And what that flake is laying at a lot of different angles. And by the time you're done laying your flake down and you're ready to go with the 2K clear coat over the top, which you have to do anyways, it's just all textured. It's like, it feels like just really textured,
Sandpaper?
Like sandpaper. Yeah. And then you put clear over it and then it dries and then it's still all textured. You're like, oh, it's just like, it doesn't have a chance to lay out. Now, so that's the reason why I like putting my Metal Flake into clear coat rather than clear base coat, is because of that reason. But the other reason is that it's a two-part. Now, having it in a two-part, you're going to be chemically hardened all the way through. So your flake is going to be suspended in a two-part clear coat, which is hardened, and it's not going to stay like gummy. You're going to have, to be honest with you, it's just a better way. It's gonna chemically hardened to where when you sand it smooth, it's all going to be the same product to that point. There's no reason to add something different, in my opinion. But like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do it. People like to do it that way, and maybe it might be more sparkly because having those kind of more textured and then you having to put more clear coat over it's going to cause it to build up more, and maybe you got different angles of the flake. I don't know, possibly. It's more work, and it's not the way I like to do it, but you can do it that way. It's if you have clear base and you don't have any clear coat, maybe do it that way, but you still need the clear coat to be able to bury it in the first place. So why not keep the same product all the way through, especially when it's easier?
Are you ever going to have LiMELiNE t-shirts?
T-shirts? Yeah, we'll have those very soon. I actually have the design already done on one of them.
What do you mix crushed glass in?
Same thing, clear coat. Definitely put crushed glass in clear coat. It's going to be like we just discussed before, you putting in clear base coat or inner coat clear, it's going to cause a lot of like angles and stuff. When it comes to crushed glass, it's going to be like way worse. So definitely use clear coat in that.
Because they're bigger specs.
Yeah, you will literally have to sand that clear coat and then hit it with clear coat again, a whole nother session the next day or 2 days later or whenever you want to do it. The only way that is worse than the ways that we're talking about now is to blow it on.
Dry flake it, right?
You dry flake it. Well, when you dry flake it, you have the gun and it has like the little cup on the bottom, and then you would spray your base coat. Usually people teach silver. I feel like it looks better on black. Spray your base coat, and then you would spray it all with clear coat, and then you would blow your flake with the gun onto the part, and it would just stick to it. But they stick at all kinds of crazy angles, and then it's just, you got to pile so much clear on those to get them to flatten out, and then to start your graphics. I mean, if you're doing like some intense graphics where you're doing a lot of, like, say you're doing silver leaf and you're doing candies and you have all this image transfer, you plan on doing all this stuff. Well, if you're starting out by blowing the flake on, you're already going to have like 12 coats before you can even get started. And then you're going to have another 20 coats because you got all that stuff to do, and you need to clear coat it in between, which is fine, but don't dig yourself a hole in right at first. Like, we all know it's not like the greatest thing to pile up a whole bunch of product on something, but if a couple of things, if you can keep it as thin as you can, because we're breaking a lot of rules, sometimes we have to flush it out, but we're also sanding a lot, so we're cutting a lot of that out too to get things to flush out. But remember, having the 2K 2 parts in between, and building up that way, and then making sure, you know, that if you're doing graphics over another graphic, you need to have smooth lines to be able to pass through that on the second go around. So but yeah, like I said, we're breaking a lot of rules, but we have to make it happen. I like to spray it on. I like to use clear coat. I feel like it's better, but you can do it however you guys want. That's might be better your way.
A couple dry coats of clear won't run your candy.
No, depends on your dry coats, I guess. Yes.
What brand of 2K clear do you prefer to use?
I use LiMELiNE. It is out of stock right now, but I still have a private stash. But yeah, you can use House of Color. Good stuff too. So you can check out House of Color. You can use U-Pull. I like to use U-Pull as like a mid clear. I don't think there's a problem with that. But remember, it is thinner, and then when it comes to like winter time, those thinner clears are way more prone to running for sure.
Is it bad to spray outdoors in the sun? Meaning, if your paint dries too quick.
If you're painting a car, yeah, I could see that being a big problem. But if it's just your motorcycle parts, you should be fine. Yeah, you're gonna get around it fast. That actually might not be a bad thing, really.
Do you recommend 2K or base in crushed glass?
2K clear coat. Yeah.
When will you have LiMELiNE 2K clear back in stock?
Oh, good question. Hopefully, it should be next week, actually. Yeah. So it's just clearing through the shipping process right now.
2K clear for metal flake and crushed glass, right?
Yep. You use 2K all the way through, mix it with the 2K clear coat, which 2K, if you don't know what 2K is, this might not make any sense to you. 2K just means 2-part. You have a part A and you have a part B. Those two together, once they're mixed together, it hardens the product, making it chemically hardened. Like base coat hardens, but it does not chemically harden. It's not resistant to like solvents and gasoline and other stuff, you know. What we have here is a 2K, so it's resistant to any kind of a solvent that we put on it. Although it is still pretty fresh and it still would like loosen up, it's not going to like really penetrate.
Well, spraying in direct sunlight can speed up dry time for the paint, but also the temps outside also affect the paint too.
Yes, it would. Although it would have to be pretty hot. Because you have to remember, like, some people spray in paint booths, and it's like, some of them run like super hot, like 80, 90 degrees or something. I remember painting paint booths. They were so hot.
Medium, solids, clear. Is there a different glasses? What do you use?
Is there different what? Sorry? Classes?
Medium, solids, clear.
Mm-hmm.
Is there different glosses? What do you use?
I just use the LiMELiNE. It's a high build. So I just use that 2K, which is.
Sorry, I thought that was an A and it's an O.
Yeah, hopefully I answered that right.
What tip size to shoot the crushed glass?
1.7 or bigger. 1.7 or bigger. Sorry.
Do you think you could ghost stripe or flame under a flip flop or chameleon paint, or at the least use those type of paints as a pinstripe with a candy base?
I have tried that, and I didn't really like the way it looked. Like maybe doing a chameleon instead of the silver. Yeah, I felt like it wasn't enough of a contrast.
Swampy said, how cold is it up there tonight? It's 46 degrees.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
Feels great in here.
Medium is less UV resistant. Will LiMELiNE get more options for color shifting pigments in the future?
Possibly. We have 4 of them now. The most popular is by far the green, purple, blue.
Yeah.
Green, purple, blue. It's probably my favorite too.
Yeah,
that's the one we have a hard time even keeping in stock.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing about those chameleons is some of them get super pricey. They can the chameleon's already 10 times the price of what regular pigments are, and then some of the ways they make it or something, it's a crazy process that it causes it to get like really expensive. It's like to where it's not even worth like trying to sell something that expensive. It's like, and this stuff's pretty close to that. A little different. It's pretty amazing. But I don't know. I just don't see it. But maybe more colors in the future. But the ones that I have out are the ones that were my favorite, that were in a decent price range.
Someone said, OMG, and holy schmoly, that's cold. We're supposed to get down to 43 here tonight. And then someone said, yeah, in the 50s. Can you sand base coat if you miss your window to clear, or should you spray more base than clear?
I would have to, whatever the manufacturer says, maybe. I don't like to sand any kind of base coat. It doesn't matter what it is. I feel like it doesn't even really sand right. So I would err on the side of putting more clear base coat on the top, or inner coat clear, whatever you call it. Put that over the top rather than sanding any kind of base coat.
Someone just said, how cold is it here? It's 46 degrees here. And then someone said, got cold here in Texas. It snowed in Colorado today.
Oh, it's too early, man.
I think it has snowed up in the mountains here a few times. When doing silver flake, is it better to do black or silver base? Love the live shows, learning a lot.
I did black under this, and I always do black because it's going to have a little bit more of a sparkle to it. And this is just my opinion, which I'm pretty sure my opinion is correct. But yeah, I apply a flake over black.
Have you ever tried to glow in the dark pigment? It seems fun.
Yes, I have. Only just testing it, because we do have some that I've tested, and they actually works pretty cool. We also have the thermo stuff too. So like when you touch it and you put your heat to it, it would like make your print. Pretty amazing stuff. So I don't know. That stuff's a little bit gimmicky to me. I'd probably go more with the glow in the darks than I would that thermo changing, but who knows?
Swampy said it's 65 here. Mr. C said, I'm moving in with Swampy. Forward my mail there. It's 43 in New Hampshire. 64. I'll hide it's 49. Someone says, sorry, I meant what's the temp in the shop?
Oh. Well, that started a lot. What is it? 70?
Probably. My cheeks are a little rosy from my margarita.
Yeah.
My second one, so I don't know.
No, it's like it's probably like 72 degrees in here or something. If I was to guess, it's pretty warm. We're on the second level of our shop, so a lot of the hot air just kind of sticks up here. In my booth, it gets pretty cold, especially with the booth on. It's kind of, it's not that optimal here spraying in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, it gets so
It
cold.
gets cold sometimes. So I deal with some of those problems, same as you guys do, which it keeps me real in the game. You know, I'm not 100% perfect.
Right, makes you try and learn and
Yeah,
break
if I had
rules,
if I had a perfect booth that was all heated and temp controlled, then I wouldn't run into some of these same problems that you guys run into painting out of the garage or out of your homemade booth or whatever you got. But
How
yeah,
would you fix flare-ups in your base coat?
flare-ups? Is that a word? Is that flare-ups? Huh. I don't even know what that is. Lingo that I don't know of.
Ask it again. Let's see.
Ask it like you would ask a 12-year-old.
Obviously, because you thought that said cola.
Hey.
And it has a koala bear right next to the word koala.
I was saying it. I was saying it the
That's why I love it. You're
the
funny.
Russian way.
Oh yeah, you're funny. Can you lay down multiple for like a mural? Multiple.
Huh. No, I think your better bet would be. I think you could though. I think you could. But a better option maybe would be to like do your collage in a graphic and then print your graphic out, rather than laying out a bunch of. But I think you could do that though. I think that would be okay.
Roswell in red lettering on the top of the tank would look fire.
Dang, that's a good idea. Huh.
Booth is moving some serious air, so if intake air is cold, the booth will be cold too.
Yes. Yeah, my booth just pulls the air out of the shop. So I'm thankful for that.
Mr. C said, when they're 12, they have all the answers. Laugh out loud. Someone said, get him, Ash. I got my motorcycle frame painted yesterday and cleared while the weather was still warm. Now just letting it all cure.
All right.
Okay, so flare up if you sand through and the paint has a reaction.
Oh, okay.
So if that happens in the base coat.
Okay. Yeah. I call it burning up, I guess. So maybe I should have known what that was.
Kind of. Yeah, similar.
If something starts to burn up or flare up or wrinkle and cause problems, it's like, and usually it happens when you're like laying out a clear coat, and things can wrinkle on you because maybe you have like some 2K clear coat that's too thin and it was able to penetrate through that layer, further disturbing everything, making it wrinkle or flare up, or I've heard boil up. I've heard a couple other terms. Just never heard flare up yet. The way to fix that, if you're already clear coating, you would dust. It sucks, but don't panic, because sometimes you can fix it without you even noticing. So it starts to like crack, crazel, flare up, whatever you want to call it, and you're clear coating. You would let it sit for a little bit, maybe 20 minutes. Don't let it sit too long, because maybe that's what caused it to do that in the first place, because maybe you waited too long in between coats. But what you do is just you do a lot of light coats over top of wherever that problem area happened, and let it once again build a buffer in between that where it has that problem. And then once you got a little bit of a buffer there, you can hit it with a couple of wet coats, and sometimes you can fill that area in to where you had those problems where you can't even really tell anymore. I've been able to get myself out of some serious problems doing that. Like it would like boil up and it's like, oh, and just keep stretching and crawling a little bit bigger. Just let it sit. Hit it with dry coats, dry coat, dry coat, dry coat. Maybe even like, if you're really worried, like do 10 dry coats to get it to build up, and then hit it with a wet coat. And then finally it'll start to smooth out. And then usually at that point you would have to let it dry. You would sand it, and then you could save it in the next go around. It's not a, sometimes it's not a complete strip. Like sometimes you'd have to strip it all the way off, which would be terrible, but you can save it.
Someone said, "Are we just watching this guy dry?"
Yeah. What's his name? Roswell?
Roswell. We should do one more win. Spin the wheel.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that and we'll be done.
We'll spin the wheel and then tuck everybody into bed and say goodnight.
Go to bed. Everybody's going to have nightmares looking at this thing.
Gosh, I am.
All right, Roswell. Spin the wheel.
Here we go.
Good luck, everybody. Ernie bidding. Ernie bidding, you're one. I'm having too much fun with this alien. We need to get out of here. It's bedtime. All right, Ernie, you won. So maybe just give us a holler at info@LiMELinePaintSupply.com. Let us know that you're Eddie and that you won, and you're going to get a wonderful set of the primary colors.
I need your info.
We need your info, though. We don't know who to send it to, Eddie. We don't know where you live.
Ernie.
Oh, we don't know where you live, Ernie.
Paula.
Okay, that's it.
Bye.
If you want to get one last good look at this guy before you go to bed.
Here, there you go. Freak everybody out.
Yep. And we'll be coming for you tonight. Yeah, this thing's always looking at you, isn't it?
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
That stays out here.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the super chats.
Yeah,
And
thanks for all the questions and letting us just chit chat, and it's always good.
Yep. And thanks to Carport Customs, but he's in bed.
Yeah.
It's too late over there.
Good night, guys.
Okay.